Do you want more clarity with your style? Do you want an easier time putting outfits together? Do you want help with those impulse purchases? A wardrobe color palette can help you with all of those things. Overall, a color palette is just a really nice anchor for your intentionally curated wardrobe. Welcome back to the Closet Curation Series, where we dive deeper into understanding your personal style and creating your dream wardrobe. This is episode 3 of 5. Last week, we started developing our wardrobe plan in accordance to our lifestyle and our style preferences. We spoke very briefly about choosing our favorite colors in episode 1, but today I want to dive deeper into creating our color palettes. We're going to go over understanding what colors suit you, where to find inspiration for your color palette, how to match colors in your outfits, and how to put your whole entire color palette together. If you would like to download the free workbook that goes along with this series, it is linked in the description below. There is just one more thing I want to say before we get started. I have said this in previous videos of mine. A color palette isn't made to restrict you, so when you create a color palette, it doesn't mean that you can never buy things that sit outside this color palette. It's just a really nice guide to have to kind of ensure that everything in your wardrobe is cohesive and can be mixed and matched easily. So the first thing we need to do is to work out what colors suit us and what colors we love to wear. There is a plethora of information about this kind of stuff all over the web. There are so many different techniques and types of ways you can work out what colors are good for you. So what I want to do today is direct you to a few resources that I personally found really helpful. But I'm also going to give 2 main suggestions that I think are quite helpful to get you started with figuring out your best colors. So firstly, you want to understand what your skin undertone is. An easy way to understand this is to look at the veins on the inside of your wrist. If they appear more blue or even purplish, you most likely have a cool undertone. If they appear more green, you most likely have a warm undertone. If they are in between blue and green, then you are likely neutral. The only downside to this method is that depending on your skin tone, the darker the skin tone, the harder it can be to read the color of your veins. So if you are struggling with this method, another idea is to try find some gold or silver material and hold that up against your face. Stand yourself in some natural light and have a look in a mirror and see which one of these materials makes your skin glow more. When you're holding up these materials in front of your face, you want to be looking at things like your skin texture and try to see whether it looks more flawless if you hold up the gold or if you hold up the silver. And you also want to look at your features, like your eyes, and see if your eyes pop more with the gold or the silver. So if your skin texture is looking more smooth and flawless with the gold, then you are likely warm toned. But if your skin tone is more flawless with the silver, then you are likely cool toned. And if both look the same and you really can't see a difference, then you are probably more neutral toned. Now, if you don't have material in gold and silver, you could try like popping out to a charity shop and finding those pieces. Otherwise, you can try holding up some gold and silver jewelry in front of your face and see if that helps as well. Okay, so what does that actually mean for colors and the clothes that we can wear? I'm not here to tell you that you can or can't wear any colors, because at the end of the day, your personal preferences trump any kind of style dressing rules. However, as I've said many times before, it is worth knowing the rules as just a soft guide. So generally speaking, people with warm undertones will suit warmer, earthy colors like yellows, oranges, reds, and olive greens. And those with a cooler undertone will suit more cool colors like blues, emerald greens, and purples. And someone with a neutral undertone will suit both wearing warm and cool colors. And then the other important thing to think about is whether a color is really subdued and muted, or if it's really bright and vibrant. And then working out which of those intensities of the colors that you like to wear is really helpful as well. For example, just because you like wearing blue doesn't mean you're gonna love wearing all blues. I have personally worked this out mainly by trial and error, but think about the colors that you have in your wardrobe already. Have a look and see if there's different vibrancies of certain colors. So if you do have a lot of red in your wardrobe, take a look and see the range of reds and whether there's like particular reds you like to wear more than others. So a tip would be when you're out shopping or even browsing, just experiment and try on different colors, try on different vibrancies of colors as well, so that you can really test out and see and get a better understanding of what you do prefer. Okay, so the next step is to find inspiration for your color palette. In the first episode of this series, I asked you what were your 2 favorite colors that you love to wear that are currently in your wardrobe. I want you to now use those 2 colors as your starting point for your color palette. And to get some inspiration, I want you to type those colors into Pinterest, followed by the words color palette, and see what comes up. For example, search black, blue, and white color palette and see what comes up. If you're considering adding a certain color, say for instance green, into your wardrobe, add that as well and see if anything comes up. This is just an exercise to kind of get inspiration. It doesn't mean your perfect color palette is going to just appear in front of your eyes or that any color palette will appear in front of your eyes. I don't know what Pinterest is going to throw at you, but it's just a starting point to see if anything inspires you to create your color palette. So take a note and see if there's any interesting color palettes that come up on Pinterest that you like the look of, or that you have those other colors in your wardrobe already, or that you might like to add into your wardrobe and you know would suit your skin tone, or that you want to experiment with in the shops. Take a note and see if anything comes up. Okay, so step 3 is putting the actual color palette together. So this is where we're going to get to choose more colors. So bear with me. I personally recommend putting your color palette together in a program called Canva. For anyone who doesn't know what Canva is, it's online, super simple and easy to use, and it's free. It's like a drag and drop design program, I guess. It's what I use to create all of my titles, all of my thumbnails for YouTube, and it's what I use to create my color palette as well. So that is why I recommend it. What I did as well is I created a color palette template, which I will link in the description below. So you can just use that and go straight ahead and start adding in your colors and playing around with different colors. But you can use whatever you want to create your color palette. The main thing you want is obviously to ensure that everything can be easily mixed and matched together, and that overall it looks cohesive. So how exactly do we do that? So you want to start by adding your 2 main colors in. Did you find any other good colors that came up on Pinterest? If so, you can add them in as well. And don't worry if you're really unsure about these, because we're just playing around for the moment. You can edit this, you can delete colors, add colors, move them around. It is all just about playing around and experimenting at this stage. Nothing is set in stone. So when I was creating my color palette, I played around with different shades and tones and tints by moving this thing around and making my colors darker and lighter. So the next step is to add some neutral colors into your color palette if you haven't done so already. Neutral colors do really make it so easy to mix and match so many things in your wardrobe. And just because you have a good selection of neutral colors in your wardrobe, it doesn't mean you can't have an exciting, colorful wardrobe. I do think there was one stage where I kind of lacked neutral basics in my wardrobe, and that was when I really struggled to put together everyday outfits because I really didn't know what to reach for. So I think it is really handy to just have those neutral colors, especially for when you're in a pickle. I personally love mixing my neutral colors with my more colorful pieces, as I find this is just really easy to the eye as well, and it matches my personal style quite well too. Otherwise, I like to go for like a monochromatic look, so something that's like all in shades of blue or dark grays to blacks. However, you might be interested in understanding how to match more vibrant colors with vibrant colors, so that is where a color wheel can become quite helpful. So colors that are located opposite each other on the color wheel are complementary. Complementary colors create contrast and vibrancy when placed next to each other. For example, red and green are complementary colors. Analogous colors are located next to each other on the color wheel. They share a similar hue and create a harmonious, cohesive look when used together. For example, blue, blue-green, and green are analogous colors. Split complementary colors use 2 colors across the color wheel, with those 2 colors lying on either side of the complementary color. For example, violet's complementary color is yellow, but its split complementary colors are yellow green and yellow orange. Triadic colors are evenly spaced around the color wheel, forming a triangle. This creates a balanced and vibrant color scheme. So knowing this information, how do you now match the colors in your outfits? First, choose your dominant color, for example, a blue t-shirt. Then you can either do what I like to do and create like a monochromatic outfit, or pair my blue with something neutral. Otherwise, if you wanted to pair with another color, check the color wheel. You could use complementary colors and pair that blue with orange. You could use a split complementary palette where you pair your blue with red orange and yellow orange. You could use analogous where you where you pair your blue items with other bluish greenish items, just like this image on the screen now. This girl is wearing blue jeans, green shirt, and red accessories. Why does it work? Because it's split complementary. The green and blue are split complementary colors to the red. So with all that being said, I would suggest choosing 9-ish colors in total for your color palette, but I don't want to set any hard rules. Just do what you think is right for you. You can do more or you can do less. Like I said, the color palette isn't set in stone. You can always remove and add colors. As you can see by my color palette on the screen now, I had this maroon color as a color that I've wanted to add into my wardrobe for about 3 months now. It's just been sitting off to the side as I know it will work with my color palette. I know it will work with my skin tone because I've tested it out before. My nightie is in this maroon color, so I know it will work. And just a couple of weeks ago, I added this shirt into my wardrobe that I'm currently wearing now, which is that exact exact color, and it is one of the most intentional purchases I have made because I just knew that it was a gap in my wardrobe. It was a color that I wanted to add. It has blue and yellow flowers in it, which is my two other favorite colors in my wardrobe. I knew this would work for me. As I go on throughout the years, I know that it's a color that I will happily add into my wardrobe because it matches my color palette and I've really thought it through. Okay, so after choosing your main colors and your neutral colors, now you want to add your more statement colors, if that suits you, of course. I say statement very loosely because my statement colors are still quite subdued. Like, this is a statement for me in my wardrobe, whereas your statement colors might be really bright, and they're both statement in terms of our personal styles, if that makes sense. So this color palette is for the wardrobe that you want to create, not the wardrobe that you currently have. So add in those colors that you think you might want to add to your collection as well, or the colors that you think you might want to experiment with. And write next to it that this is a color I want to experiment with, just so it's really clear to you. You don't quite know that it's right yet, but you want to test it out. Maybe you want to test it out in the store, see if it's right against your skin tone, see if it will match with other things in your wardrobe. Make these notes on your color palette so that you can be really intentional. When we created that mood board, I think in episode 2, you might want to go back to that and see if any colors popped up there that aren't in your current color palette, and start to see if that color palette matches your mood board intention, and if anything needs to be changed within your color palette, or if anything needs to be changed within your mood board. Another thing to do is to take a moment to think about your metallics. I love both gold and silver, mainly gold for my jewelry, and then silver can pop up in my bags and my shoes. In next week's episode, we're going to finally be decluttering our wardrobes and creating our wardrobe wish lists. The best thing about next week's declutter is that we are going to have so much more clarity going into it because we've done all this work leading up to it. I would love to hear how you are getting on with this series, so please leave your comments, questions, and thoughts below on today's episode. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.